Welcome back, sports fans. Thank you for coming back for another video. I am your host, Johnny Gaz. Unfortunately, I got to start off with negative news. This video was supposed to be a what's next in a much more positive light. I was going to move us forward with a lot of positive things that we've done in free agency and through trades and everything that has been good about this 2024 offseason with the Detroit Lions. But unfortunately, we got horrible news today. And although I will spare the horrible details, you are welcome to look them up. It has been posted all over social media. All of the major media networks have picked this up. But Cam Sutton is wanted in Florida. There is a warrant out for his arrest. He has been missing now since March 7th. He has not been able to be located for 2 weeks under suspicion of domestic battery. Again, I will not go over the horrible details. That's not the intent of this video. But it is just a terrible, unfortunate incident for everyone involved. Of course, we'll start this off with innocent until proven guilty. But unfortunately, when somebody is on the run, you have to, you start to think the worst. And ultimately, I just hope I hope for the best outcome for everyone involved in this situation. A safe and healthy outcome for everyone involved, and obviously the justice system to play out the way it should. And relating it back to the Detroit Lions and what the intent of this video was, what's next? Well, because of this situation, we have to kind of look at this a little bit differently. The Lions, over the course of free agency, have brought on multiple cornerbacks or defensive back help. We've done multiple videos on what they've done so far in free agency. We've done many segments on the two transactions that I'm referring to mostly here is the Carlton Davis trade from the Buccaneers and the Amik Robertson acquisition from the Las Vegas Raiders. So the Lions have been very proactive in securing defensive backfield help, which they already needed. We knew that already. We focused on that in other videos here on the channel. And you have to wonder if they had some knowledge of this situation. I don't know that is pure speculation on my part. The Lions have released a statement today indicating that they also just found out about the situation and wouldn't release any further statements until more information became available. But the fact that they were so active in the cornerback market makes you think that maybe a little bit. But the bottom line is now with this Cam Sutton situation, no matter what the outcome, I think the Lions have to plan on him not being a part of this organization moving forward. The new culture, the brand new Lions, and the history of this Detroit organization would tell you that they don't take chances on players that have a history. Again, whether or not there's guilt here, we won't discuss that. That's for other people to decide. But the organization, I don't think, will move forward with this situation ongoing. I expect the Lions very soon, once more information comes out, that they will move forward and on from Cam Sutton, whether that be a outright release, a cut, whether that be the NFL stepping in due to suspension. I mean, there's a lot of ways this can play out, but I think ultimately for the Lions, it means Cam Sutton is not in their future plans. So that means they're down a cornerback. So I think that then makes defensive back more of a priority as we move forward into the offseason. There's a lot of different ways they can still address this. The free agent period is still open. There are multiple guys out there that they could look for or could look at to bring in, but we know, and we've talked about in previous videos, that Brad Holmes isn't in the market for just throwing money at folks, and they may be satisfied with the two they brought in. So that leaves the draft, which we know is coming up in a few weeks down the road. I'll have a much more detailed video on, a draft preview, mock drafts in relation to the Detroit Lions. But I think that makes cornerback more of a priority for the draft. And coming out of this Cam Sutton situation, unfortunately, that puts them right there. Here's a quick snapshot of the Lions' defensive backfield. They actually right now have the left cornerback listed as Carlton Davis, and the right cornerback is Emmanuel Mosley. I don't remember seeing that before the incident today. I don't know if that was like that. So again, I'm not trying to play into it too far, but ultimately he's not one of the starting cornerbacks, Cameron Sutton in this case. And you have to imagine that will be what we'll see as we head into 2024. Behind Carlton Davis and Emmanuel Mosley, we know we have Amik Robertson in that free agent acquisition. And Brian Branch is really a nickel cornerback. Although he did play more kind of a safety role for the Lions last year, he ultimately came out of Alabama as a nickel corner. So he can rotate and move along the defensive backfield as kind of that special weapon. We've talked about Ife Melifonwu in other videos as well. So they have a lot of weapons in the defensive backfield, especially at safety. But again, I think it will still make cornerback now more of a priority, assuming you're going to be without Sutton moving forward. All right, so that's the negative side of things. Let's go back to the full intent of this video and what I kind of planned on doing before the horrible news of today. Ultimately, the Lions are in a fantastic situation. Brad Holmes has made the acquisitions necessary so far in free agency to fill the small gaps that I thought that the Lions had. In previous videos, we've talked about the need for defensive line help, defensive back help, and securing your greatest strength, the offensive line. And they have hit on all three of those pieces. So yes, you're probably losing Cam Sutton, but you brought on 2 cornerbacks. You re-signed Emmanuel Mosley. So they clearly have faith in those guys there to at least then move them forward towards the draft. I think that Brad Holmes, this was his ultimate strategy, is to put the Lions in an organization where they can just ultimately choose the very best available player at where they choose to pick. Now, the Lions have done that in the past, but only because they've had holes in almost every position. Now, they don't really have a hole to fill. So they can truly take the best player available. That could now be a cornerback. Maybe Brad Holmes packages some picks together and goes and gets the guy that they really, really want. They could trade back. The options are endless. Even with the terrible situation we've talked about earlier, they still have an open-ended draft, and I think they are in a fantastic situation. Now, as far as where I think they still have ways to improve, positions to improve on, I think wide receiver is still an area where they need to think about adding talent. We've talked about Amon-Ra in great detail. He is one of the best receivers in the NFL, and he's going to get paid by this organization handsomely, and he should. He is a pillar player. He is an organizational guy, and he is maybe the hardest worker on your team. But he only has so much of a skill set, and I think what the Lions lack is kind of a size wide receiver, a guy in the red zone that you can throw the ball up to, that you can scheme, a big play wide receiver, a body guy. You know, they don't really have that in their current lineup of wide receivers. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Khalif Raymond, Jamison Williams, those guys are not size guys. So they're really relying on Sam Laporta as the tight end in those short yardage and goal line situations. Well, you know, if they double up on Sam Laporta, they're going to have to find another weapon. I just think, again, we're getting nitpicky here, and I love that we're doing that. That means the Lions don't have huge holes to fill. But I think that could be where they look at offensively, at least at the wide receiver position. Other places they could go, we talked about the cornerback position. So as much as that could be their 29 pick or one of their upfront picks, you know, that's certainly a part of it. I think they also have to continue to look at their defensive line. That's a huge, huge piece. That also could be still what we're looking at pick 29. I really like Chop Robinson there. I think if he's available at 29 and they don't make any other moves or have a need to do that, I think you take that edge rusher, you pair him up with Hutch, and then you've added so much talent up front that you're feeling so good about the defensive line as well. That's just one option. There's certainly other places you could go there, but I just want to mention the D-line because I think you can't add enough talent to that position. The more guys you have available at the D-line, I think the better. I think you also want to continue to bolster your offensive line. You know, they made a fantastic acquisition in Zeitler, adding the guard to replace Jonah Jackson. Just made a video on that. Definitely go check it out. But behind the starting 5, which I believe to be the best offensive line in football, you need to cultivate younger talent behind them. So I think that's going back to the draft. I think they're going to want to add offensive line depth as well. Another thing to look forward to as we head towards the 2024 season, as we head into the draft, is the unveil of the Lions' new uniforms. They've talked about the rebrand for several years. It's kind of been pushed back. And to me, it's still up in question. I have not seen solid information or leaks to indicate their truly going to do this, but I mean, the word from the organization is they're going to try and unveil this before the draft. So I really look forward to that. We just did a video a few days back about the best uniforms in the NFL, and although the Lions certainly aren't part of that, and that was kind of the focus, is I'm ready for that rebrand. So that is certainly something exciting and something to look forward to. So what's next for the Detroit Lions? A much different picture today than it was 24, 48 hours ago, depending on when you watch this video. We talked about the bad news up front. We talked about some of the positive news towards the end of this video. But I think ultimately the Lions culture, the Lions organization has now proven over the last few years that they have their heads on right. And I think they'll handle this situation the right way. I think they'll do what's necessary to make sure that every party involved is treated fairly, but they do what's right by the organization. So we'll start there, but I think there's a lot of positivity outside of this situation, still heading towards the 2024 season, and I don't want to lose focus on that. That was the intent of this video, and as much as I want to give you the information, I want to continue towards the positive 2024 that I think we're heading towards. Definitely make sure to take care of yourself, guys. Mental health is number one. I appreciate you so much for watching my videos, spending time with anybody else who does content like this. I hope to see you guys back on the next video. If you like and dig the vibe of Johnny Gas Sports, make sure to hit the like button. It helps me out so much. Subscribe to the channel and hit that notify bell so you don't miss any future videos. We're going to have a lot of fun topics coming up. We have the draft preview. As we get closer and closer to the 2024 season, this is going to just get more fun for all, and I want to see you to be a part of it. Thank you so much for your time. You guys have a fantastic day.